who I always thought was a badass middle linebacker.
Yeah.
He could stop anything. You should see what he did to Jerome Bettis. Stopped him dead in his tracks. Ripped the wheels right off the bus. But now in his post-playing career, Ted Johnson's gone a little soft, and he sees a play that is dominated by an offensive line, which, by the way, has changed. It was originally thought, oh, this is a Jason Kelsey thing. He's at the point man. They keep doing it.
Yeah, they do.
So Jalen Hurts is there. You've added Saquon Barkley as a pusher from behind. But the tush push is what we're talking about because competition committee is going to meet. Competition committee is going to consider proposals about the tush push. And yet again, we talked about it last year. They wanted to ban it. They didn't ban it. They allowed it to keep going. We're here a year later where a bunch of crybabies are trying to ban the play. And I hate it. I can't believe that they're going to penalize somebody for being good. I thought that was the point of football, competing.
Wait, is that someone
is
that someone really being good, or is this loophole gamesmanship?
What's the loophole?
Just there's no rule against a bunch of guys pushing each other. So
I actually thought that was
the NFL needs to make a decision. I think that affects more than just the tush push. The NFL needs to make a decision. Are you not allowed to advance the ball with the force of others? Because Gronk would advance the football and carry guys into the end zone or for a first down. He also didn't need Dan Conley and Aaron Hernandez and Stephen Ridley to push him further.
Right.
They didn't do that. But now all of a sudden we're doing that. We're other pig piling on and getting 5, 6, 7 other yards.
We've been doing this for a while. If you remember, there was a controversial USC Notre Dame game where there was a famous push where a running back pushed maybe Mark Sanchez over the line at Notre Dame, whatever. Because in high school, it's not allowed. You cannot assist the runner. College, It wasn't allowed.
Why is that?
Then they allowed. It's just the rules, the NFHS rules or whatever. You can't assist a runner in any way in high school. In college, you can. In the NFL, you can.
I say they go back. I say they get rid of the
So
rule
there's a rule.
altogether.
I don't know that the rule was ever changed in the NFL. You could. It's, for example, the big pile. You know when the big pile and the running back's still up, and all of a sudden the pile of like 8 men is sort of tiptoeing down the field, and all of a sudden they're on the 4, the 3, the 2. Oh my God, they're all in the end zone, touchdown. That would also be eliminated, if I would think, because you'd have to eliminate all assisting of the runner, basically, right?
Sure.
Like that's how you get out of this. Because if you take away the assisting of the runner, it's just a short yardage play. It's just a QB sneak with a line, correct? The assisting of the runner. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure how often that the push part of the tush push is the most important factor. I think their line does a really nice job, and I think Jalen Hurts does a really nice job.
I think if they didn't push, it's important because they're pushing. So if it wasn't important, they wouldn't push. So clearly,
I know,
but clearly that helps you. Let me ask you: can the defense push the defensive lineman into the offense?
No. It's against the rules.
Oh, it's against the rules. So you can't meet force with force.
No leverage, no.
So let me just make my point real quick.
Sorry, Ted.
So there used to be a rule in the PAT field goal block.
Yeah.
Where I was able to push my defensive lineman into the snapper or into the guards, and they outlawed that, right, to protect the snapper.
Yeah.
That is no longer allowed.
Yeah.
And so just I want people to be clear, we used to be able to do that on defense, and then they outlawed that. Now the offense can do it, but the defense can't, and so I don't feel like the play is a fair play. I don't because it's not only that, and it's also that you can't, as a defense, prepare for that play. You can't practice that play, but without concern of guys getting hurt.
Okay.
And having it isn't a play you want to practice because of the chance of someone getting hurt because of that play. From a defensive standpoint, if the offense is able to push a guy, the defense should be allowed to push a guy as well. They're not. Therefore, I don't feel like it's a fair play. And then just from a fan standpoint, from an aesthetic standpoint, it's a boring play to watch.
But that's not a good argument.
It's a super boring play to watch.
You know what? But they moved the PAT field goal back because it was a boring play to watch to give it a little bit more, I don't know, intrigue. And that's what we want to see as fans is more intrigue and not make it. So I don't want to see a play where it's 100% success rate.
And
it isn't fair.
And I agree with you, Ted. I would ban the tush push, because it's dumb. It's just a bunch of guys pushing because you're not the one scoring. you're being pushed. Like it's just you're creating like this huge leverage play. It's like
not a natural.
It's momentum.
football
It's not
play.
a natural football play. And also, if we're talking
Disagree.
about utilizing loopholes or athleticism, if you're going to allow a tush push, but I can't tush push Chris Jones or Vince Wilfork or Christian Barmore into the face of the center of the Eagles or Jalen Hurts' grill, then I want you to let me be able to leap over the line and block extra points again because that's someone using their athletic prowess.
Yeah, so I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong here, and I don't actually, probably. Well, you just said something's not fair. So,
It's not.
Don't you see all the time linebackers push defensive linemen? When those piles are going, they're pushing the back of their defensive linemen. The offense is pushing one way, and they're pushing the back of their defense. I actually don't know the rule. I know you can't leverage and do all that stuff on kickoff, on PATs and field goals, but a lot of that stuff was related to the center and was related to like head injuries, safety issues, the center. Because for a while, like it was like they tell you basically lay off the center. Like you can't do anything. Like
Can't touch him.
Don't touch him. I didn't like. Is there not a pushing rule? Like a linebacker can't hit the back of Vince Wilfork.
No.
Short yardage play. Jerome Bettis is lining up. He's got a fullback. You got Vince Wilfork. You guys, the four of you can't meet in the middle. Oh
No.
okay,
So-
that's interesting. I didn't know that, and I'm trusting you that that's true. The part of it not being an entertaining play or whatever you called it,
Aesthetically,
Fitzy,
I didn't. I don't think
I
it's
love it.
aesthetically.
I love it.
Okay.
I absolutely love it. I think it's so cool to watch like this mass of bodies move in one direction. It's like watching a tug of war. We all watch tug of war, and at some point you start to pull the other
But
team.
it always goes in one direction. It
It's
never
been
goes the
stopped.
other direction.
It's been stopped. It's not 100%. It's like 90% or something.
It's pretty close to 100%.
And they're good at it. That's what I think. That's the part that bothers me is I didn't like, for example, your defenses when Bill Polian whined about guys being too physical, and now we got to change rules. I hated that.
That
lose.
That was some garbage.
You lose, so now you change. You can't stop it, so now you're going to change. You can't. How about? I thought football was watch film, look at my strengths, look at their strengths, and come up with a way to defeat it. And that's, I really would like somebody to try to do that, and they haven't been successful. Chris Jones almost got hurt. That play we just played,
right. That's right.
He was at that, if you remember, like.
He went at a 45-degree
Weird.
angle. He tried to basically cut across the center,
Right.
undercut him, which would then allow a linebacker to come in and stop Jalen Hurts. That's dangerous.
Well, football's dangerous. If you don't want danger, don't play football.
What?
That would be my start. But, and I've told you, the thing I'd like to try. Also, do the Eagles not practice the tush push?
It's very different. It's very different on offense. You can't practice it as a defense.
Why?
I
If the offense practices it, can't the defense?
I don't know if they practice it on offense. I don't.
Yeah, and I don't either. That was just I was questioning.
I don't
because they're all getting low and they're all throwing their bodies around.
My point is, if the offense is allowed to have guys push the linemen, then the defense should be allowed to do the same thing.
Okay, that is my
That's the
correction
only
then. I want
fair
that change.
point.
Don't get rid of the tush push.
So, fine,
Give
don't
the
get-
defense the tush
There you
push.
go.
Give them the nose tackle push, the D tackle
You
push.
should be able to have
100%.
three guys pushing defensive linemen right into that center, and then that would make it a fair
I'm on
play.
board. Can you go propose it as, the
I'll-
Patriots have
I'll talk
proposed
to
from
them.
New England, Ted Johnson.
You got it, brother.
We don't outlaw the tush push. We allow the defense to push back.
If Green Bay is the one that has this up for
every
rewrites.
action, there has to be an equal and
Yeah.
opposite reaction.
Let it happen.
So then
That's
let
the
the
football
defense
I
fight.
want.
Then let the defense fight back, or don't have it at all. And we didn't even mention that it was supposedly this was coming out of Combine Week when all the news begins. Believe the buzz, right, Ted? This was the unnamed team. It was It was a team that lost to the Eagles, no less.
Funny how that works.
The Packers.
I can't beat you, so can
But
we change
now
the
other
rule?
teams-
Very Colts-like.
I don't know if the Eagles actually played another team. Should we let the audience hear what some other NFL coaches have to say about the tush push?
Sure.
Like Atlanta Falcons head coach Raheem Morris.
Was.
Atlanta Falcons coach Raheem Morris, who spoke at the Combine about the tush push. Atlanta Falcons.
Apparently, they don't have
Okay.
Atlanta Falcons
All right.
head coach Raheem Morris. But you know what I would say to that?
Suck it.
No.
What?
What kind of
Stop
coach
it.
is he?
A wuss?
He's a defensive coach.
Oh, he's a defensive coach.
Some of the
Sure.
defensive coaches are coming off a little bit, spilt milk,
Oh God!
right? Because they can't stop it.
This
They
guy,
got to ban
right?
it.
If it was a fair play, I would be getting down on them for being whiny babies, but it's not a fair play.
So what would you prefer? They ban the tush push or my rule change where they'll allow you guys to push back however you want?
Allow them to push back.
Because isn't that
I'm okay
football?
with that. Sure, push,
shove, block.
Just pushing, yeah.
I mean,
but it's got to be.
Is it rugby or is it football? It's a variation therein.
Yeah, same thing.
Hey, Andy, did I tell you that Raheem Morris spoke out at the combine about the tush push?
Hadn't heard.
This should have been illegal 3 years ago. No, the tush push play, I was never been a big fan. There's just no other play in our game where you can absolutely get behind somebody and push them, pull them off, do anything.
See? Not like it. Doesn't like it. Not a fan. There isn't another play. Can you do it like Ted? For example, let's say you catch Andy throws you a bubble screen. Now I run over and get behind you and try to tush push you for a first down out in the flat.
And that happens.
Is that legal?
That happens.
You don't
That absolutely
see
happens.
that.
Yeah, you do. Now, we don't call it and name it, and they don't run it repetitively to the point where it becomes a thing.
What you see is when the forward momentum stops by the offensive player, the other offensive player will come in and push, but by that time, they've already declared where the ball is stopped, and so that extra push, more times than not, is ruled, your forward momentum's already stopped and the ball is ruled where the initial contact was made.
I would push back, though, on Raheem Morris. The play that I talked about earlier, of course I would.
You should have started Penix earlier.
The big, mass of people where the running back, sometimes they even pointed out like the running back's not even touching the ground anymore. Like the offensive linemen have picked him up, the defensive linemen are hitting him, and his feet, they zoom in. He's not even touching, but the whole pile is kind of shifting forward. That's people pushing their own teammate. There's no name for it, and no team has done it repetitively and successfully to the point where it becomes a talking point. But isn't that another example of where that's happening?
Yes, it's in the open field. It's not with intent to kind of, I don't know. It's a different situation altogether. It really is.
All right, let's go to the phone lines because they're loading very quickly, and I'll be interested to see. These are all reactions to the tush push. Let's go to Scott in the car. What are your thoughts on the NFL and some teams wanting to ban the tush push?
Well, I think there's actually a rule that makes the tush push illegal, and that is, if you read the rule, it says you cannot engage your opponent with the crown of your helmet. And you look at every one of those offensive linemen, they are engaging their opponent with the crown of their helmet.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks for the call, Scott.
Well, that's a tough one, Scott. I'll be honest.
I don't see a lot of shoulder padding. I see a lot of crowning right there.
But when you cut guys, and you're still allowed to cut at the line of scrimmage. So I know you can cut at the line of scrimmage right at the snap, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to get under the defensive lineman. Yeah. This is old school low man wins. That's why I told you I think D-line's going to try to get lower than the O-line. They keep getting lower. They'll be laying down on the ground. I don't know. I don't know who wins it. Okay. Yes, Stiz has his hand
Someone
up.
in the Twitch offered this maybe for a solution. Make it illegal inside the 5-yard line.
So it would still be illegal on 4th and 1 from the 40.
Yeah.
But you can't punch a Ted Johnson doesn't like that.
No, I don't like that.
You either do it or you don't.
That feels.
Yeah, and I like football plays. I don't like smush, push, ask, pat, grab.
Football started out as smush, push, grab.
Well, then put a leather helmet on and we'll see how tough you are, tush push.
It just nobody wants. Nobody. I don't think it's just, again. If the defense isn't allowed to do the same thing the offense is doing, how can it be a fair play? Why? And I'm about fairness. I really am. That is not a fair.
That's
play.
what your nickname used to be, right? Old Fair Teddy.
That's it, brother.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Dan in Nashua, your thoughts on the tush push, Dan?
Yeah. Hey, how you guys doing? My question is, if it's so unfair, then how come the Eagles are the only ones that can do it?
Ooh, good question, Dan.
Because
Ted Johnson, would you like to retort? Thanks for the call, Dan.
I don't know. There are a lot of teams that are doing it. They can't do it.
Teams try it and don't have the success rate. Now, the other team that I see do it...
Best line quarterback that squats 600 pounds.
Well, yeah. That's called utilizing your strengths.
Yeah, okay.
Well, interesting, huh? How that works. I always thought that was football.
I
My
think it's
strengths,
unfair.
your weaknesses. We marry them up and we see who wins. Sniff, best man wins. The Ravens do it with Mark Andrews. It's not as much a tush push. They do that motion thing.
He does it from the pistol, though.
Yeah, and he does the thing. So I don't know where that falls on this.
Yeah.
But, I think there's a certain aspect of the Eagles started it, first of all. They have a good offensive line. And Fitzy's right. Their quarterback has thighs the size of probably you, right? He's not a skinny guy. I wouldn't.
Someone's going to snap a neck doing it, and then everyone's going to be real sad.
I can tell you,
that
it doesn't matter how low
That's not going to be great
It
at all.
doesn't matter how low the defensive line gets.
Yeah.
If they get under the offensive lineman, but the offensive linemen are being pushed over the defensive lineman, you're still going to get surge moving forward.
I'm telling
you,
you,
it doesn't matter how low you get. If someone's pushing you from behind, there's a huge advantage to that.
Ted, you see it where these guys are now getting running starts and trying to we can even see right here on ESPN right now they're debating as much on Good Afternoon It's Football or whatever the hell this is. So you see these guys get running starts and leap up. I'm telling you, one of these days somebody is going to collide with someone midair, and then their body is just going to fall limp on the ground, and we're going to be like, yeah, all right, tush push.
Yeah, but it happened. Tom Brady and Ray Lewis.
I thought he snapped his spine on that play.
Right, it's called football. If you don't want that to be a possibility, I wouldn't
Believe me, Brady is the one who said afterward, I reconsidered all of my QB sneaks after that play.
And the Eagles are willing to put their quarterback on the line. I heard somebody joke about it. Travis Kelce might have joked about it. We used to do the tush push, and then Patrick Mahomes, remember he dislocated his kneecap or something on a QB sneak?
That's right.
And they kind of were like, okay, we're probably not going to do those anymore. But there's some risk involved when you're going to have your quarterback run and be in those situations time after time after time.
And I'll just tell people that are calling in and they want to know why other teams, if it's, why doesn't the other teams run the play? The other teams are stupid for not running the play. I would be doing that. If I'm Vrabel, I'm putting the tush push in right now because you don't need, it's not 10 yards for a first down. It's 8 yards for a first down because it's pretty much an automatic play for 2 yards. You're almost going to get 2 yards every time you run that play.